point of missing this once again.
Arey yaar. Thanks so much for saying that. A good confidence boost for me before I actually start.
I totally agree with Yash.
Thanks, guys. You're making me a little bit uncomfortable, but yeah, thank you. Cool. I think I'll just like to start off with a brief introduction. I think most of you would probably be meeting each other for the first time. So if you could just quickly type in the chat window, just describe, what you do, who you are, and anything else that you would want to share, so that I can tailor this session, more suited to your needs. So yeah, just in the chat window, write what you're up to, what's your profession like, and yeah, basically what you have been up to. Prashant is an internet marketing guy. Hey Prashant, handling sales and marketing found you for the first time in growth hacking session. Yes, Prashant. I think Prashant also discovered me the same way. Yes, I think Harika we have also interacted with before. Content writer, freelance copywriter. Business development. That's interesting. Didn't quite expect anyone from BD joining. Hi there, dear. Run small business. Yes. Hi Neha. Good morning. I think there was some issue with the email. I don't know why, but some of you didn't get the link, for which I really apologize. I had to send you manually. Shweta is a content writer. Yes, I think we have spoken before as well, Shweta. Cool. So without further ado, let me just get started because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Just let me lay down the context a little bit. I have been on a journey, okay? Like I've been doing a few things which have worked for me. This session is purely for me to share those things with you. There is not going to be any pitch at the end of the session. I have nothing to sell to you. Unfortunately, I wish I did. So this is not a sales pitch. This is just a 45-minute session where I want to share with you a few things that have worked for me. How I have discovered myself through writing, and so we will have I have put together a PPT just to give it some structure, and then I would just keep it like an open thing. Would love to know if you have any questions about this, and so I've kind of kept everyone made this whole thing for anyone who has started his journey of building his body of work of writing, or even if you have not, even if you're on the edge and if you're unsure about where to start, I think this session will help you both, right? I think considering how many participants do we have? 13, right? So I think it's quite okay if you interrupt me at any point of time. If you feel the need that, okay, this point is unclear, just feel free to unmute yourself and interrupt me and ask me a question if needed. If at all I feel that this question will be answered in the subsequent part of the PPT, I will just ask you to hold on to the question. But apart from that, you can just just feel free to interrupt me at any point of time. Cool. Okay, so I will now share my screen. Let me know when you can see it. Someone's got to unmute and say that if you can see it.
Yep, it's visible for now.
Okay, thanks. Cool. So typically, I would want. The typically a session that is led is, you basically build credibility. So in this particular part of the session, I'm supposed to tell you how great I am and how important I am and how awesome things I have achieved. I think I'll skip all of that simply because most of you know me already. We have a decent relationship. I do not think that we have a lot of there is all. Making an assumption here, but I don't think that there is anyone who does not know me. Or this is they're interacting with me for the first time. Of course, if you have any questions about my personal experience, I'll be happy to answer them at the end of the session. But on a serious note, I do believe that writing has changed my life. It has changed me internally, for sure. It has made me a smarter person. It has made my thoughts a lot better. It has made me more observant. It has made me more empathetic, and so on. But it's not just that. It's also helped me work with a few amazing clients, some top people in India. Uh, it has helped me in my career as well, and it has helped me prepare a portfolio, like a body of work that I can point to. So the next time I apply for a job, I don't really have to go with a resume. I can just pinpoint to this body of work that I've done. I can pinpoint to the blogs that I've written, the emails, the revenue that I have generated for all my clients, and so on and so forth. Right. So just know that this is coming from someone who has had a daily email practice for quite a few days. Some of you, I think most of you are on my email list of daily emails. If not, just ping me after the session and I'll send you the link to subscribe. So yeah, I am a practitioner, and in this session, as I said, I just want to share my experience of how writing has helped me become who I am. So I think the first thing that I'll want to ask you is, and I want honest answers here. Okay, this is just a very close group of people, very kind people, so no one is going to judge you for anything. But no, don't give answers which you don't really believe in. Tell me very, very honestly, why do you actually want to start publishing content daily? What do you hope to achieve through this practice? Just type it in the chat window. Why do you want to publish daily content? Because that is important, all right? I mean, that is super important, not for me, but for you. Improving my writing skills over time, okay? 3 times a week is fine. To build trust in the network and be more visible, that's honest, and I like that a lot. Okay. So why do you want to improve your writing skills?
Because sometimes it happens to be the flow is not perfect. My clients often tell me that your flow is not happening. So that's why unless and until I'm writing more, then the flow will not happen. And it will not happen like a machine gun will be just triggering at me and I will be delivering. If I am writing continuously, then only it can happen.
And what services do you provide to your clients? Sorry?
Yeah, I'm a freelance content in finance domain.
Okay. Got it. So it's more about putting together all your non-coherent thoughts into an impactful story which makes sense to the clients, right? And it moves the reader and it helps the audience, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Got it. A place for me to voice out different perspectives to things. Mostly I want to write for my future self. Makes sense. Although I think I might have a small problem with this, but I'll address that later. I kind of don't know exactly what I like to write. Okay, that's honest. Generating more leads and over time and getting clients. Okay. Anyone else who has not written? Gaurav, what is your motivation to follow Justin Welch's methodology? Okay. Anyone else who would like to jump in? But the good part is that all of these. I made a list of 5 basic life skills, and writing was among top 5. So yeah, even if you are, let's say, like Shweta, who kind of wants to flirt with the idea of writing, or even if you are someone who is maybe looking at that skill more from a career standpoint, like Dhairya and Deepak, I think it's just such a good skill to have, because, like I said, it helps you in 2 ways. It helps you get inner clarity, which is so important. You can't put a revenue on it, right? I mean, if I become 1% smarter every day, I can't put a revenue on it. For clients, I can put a revenue that, hey, I improved my writing, and so, now I can get clients which pay me 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh rupees per month. That is tangible, that is easy to measure. But the inner clarity is not easy to measure, and trust me, it's perhaps even more important than getting clients, because if you do it daily, imagine how it will transform your brain in the next 5 years or so. So the good part is that it is writing as a habit will address all of the things that you have basically mentioned. But this gives me a certain context as I go ahead. Correct. Organizing thoughts as well. Right. Okay. Now then, my follow-up question to that will be that if you want to publish daily, what has stopped you from publishing daily content? And if you want, you can just remove the word daily. What has stopped you from publishing content in any, let's say it's just 3 times a week? What has stopped you from publishing that content? Again, I want very honest answers. Procrastination, okay. Lack of content ideas. So the good part is that I'm addressing both procrastination and lack of ideas going ahead. Even what Dipali said, not knowing who I'm writing for. Sometimes laziness, sometimes lack of ideas. I take too much of time to write. Beautiful. Loving the authenticity and honesty here. I think my content is not working well due to lack of engagement. We'll talk about engagement as well. We'll talk about overthinking as well. We'll talk about fear of being judged as well. Okay. Honestly, I write content for a brand that you have worked with, and then I don't get enough time to generate good time for my content. Yeah, I feel you, Yash, because as you know, I have been a copywriter as well for quite some time, and yes, writing for multiple people. Writing is not an easy process, right? I mean, it's mentally draining. It's not as if you can write for 8 hours a day. You can do management things. You can do calling and writing emails and transactional stuff for 8 hours a day, but you can't write for 8 hours a day. I have not met anyone who writes for 8 hours a day. It's like max 4 hours, right? I mean, then they get into the other thing. So even the top performers don't go beyond 4 hours when it actually, and 4 hours, it's a lot of writing. I would like uniqueness in my content, noted. Sometimes I'm not fully or convinced with my piece. Okay, it takes a lot of mental energy, which I every day have less. It needs attention. Okay. So this is not the first time that I'm asking this question. And these are the answers that I typically get. I think you have mentioned all of them. Right? So see, my content is not original. I can't structure my thoughts. I'm not a great storyteller. I feel I'll be judged. I don't have the time. I don't know what to write about. And I think in the next part of the presentation, I'm hoping to address each and every one of them, every one of these objections. All right. And my goal would be that if after a month, for example, if someone pings me that, hey, Pranav, because of you, I started writing content and I have been publishing for daily or whatever that frequency is, and it has helped me in these many ways, that will be a win for me. So by the end of the session, I hope that you have some structure so that you can start writing for after this particular session. Okay, just one sec. Need to let someone in. Cool. So here is the thing. Okay. First, let me just talk about what is daily publishing. And again, we can have a separate discussion if you feel daily publishing is too much. But this session is oriented around daily publishing only. There's a separate discussion on whether weekly is better or daily is better. But for now, let's just stick with daily. What is daily publishing? Daily publishing is not like writing in your diary. We are not talking about producing content for yourself. And there's a big difference between the two. A lot of us think that when you say producing content, it is just about writing for yourself, writing in your diary. It doesn't go public. No, I'm not talking about that kind of writing, because that is just you scribbling in your diary or on your laptop doing morning pages, which is important, which has a place in our life, which does help us organize our own thoughts. But daily publishing or the content that I'm talking about is not for yourself. it is for an audience. So you basically are doing it for a certain set of people, hoping that their life will get better with your writing. That is the only thing that you're optimizing for. If you are going to optimize your content for likes, comments, and shares, at least initially, it's going to be something that takes a toll on you mentally, because then you're too attached to just the gratification of it. That hey, I'm not getting likes, I'm not getting comments, which means that I could be writing bad content, or it's not helping me in any way. So if you look at likes, comments, and shares for the first, I would say, 6 months or even 1 year for that matter, as a metric which determines if you are doing a good job or not, you are going to struggle. Okay, your content is a vehicle for you to help the audience, not the whole world, but just your typical audience. And I hope we all agree that when we help someone, we do get something in return, right? Maybe not instantly, maybe 5 years down the line, but there is always something that you get when you generously help an audience. So this is about creating something and putting it out in the world. This is not something that you keep in private. You create something, you put it out in the world, you see how the audience reacts to it, and then you do it the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Because then over time, your body of work grows, your reputation grows, your audience grows, and so on. So if you're looking to become a TikTok influencer or whatever, Clubhouse influencer who has 1 million views on each of his posts, this session is probably not for you, because I'm not catering to influencers. I'm talking to creators and marketers and entrepreneurs who want to serve a very small specific audience. Because when you focus on a small specific audience, your business can grow, your career can grow, and in fact, it will be much more easier than focusing on everyone, because then it's just too difficult to publish content for like a generic piece of content for everyone to like it. Okay, I'll just probably take a pause because I've been talking for quite some time. Maybe stop sharing my screen for 1 second and let me know. I'll just see if there are any questions. Many mental presumptions. Yes, it is subjected to validation, right? Reciprocity. Correct. So I think you said reciprocity to the long-term plan. Yes, so that's correct. When you said validation, I'm assuming that you said you need to get some signal from the audience that it's working or not. That's correct. So definitely you want to make sure that whatever you are publishing is resonating or not, because the next day you want to become better. The next day you want to become even better. So you need to take feedback for sure. So this is the first session that I'm taking, right? The 10th session that I'm hoping will be better than this one, right? Because I am taking, of course, I've taken sessions for other people, not for myself. But going ahead, I take feedback from you, I get better. I get feedback from you, I get better. So there is definitely going to be a validation process. But do not try to be this guy who boasts about having 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 followers on LinkedIn, or these many likes and shares. No, maybe if you can just help 10 people or 15 people over the course of 1 month, you have done a great job, because those 10 people are going to tell their friends about you. Today, if I do a good job, Yash or Souvik or Shweta or Harika are going to tell their friends about me, which is going to grow my influence, not maybe tomorrow, but over the next few months or a few years, right? So it's a win-win. It's a win-win, and look at the long-term thing, not at the how many likes I got tomorrow. That's all I'm going to. That's all I want to say. Okay, so going back to the presentation, just want to talk about a few people that you may or may not know who have been publishing daily for quite some time. You might know the first guy, because I kind of can't stop talking about him, who is Seth Godin. The other two guys you might not have heard of. The second one is Jonathan Stark. The third one is Philip Morgan. People who are extremely, extremely successful, who have a writing strategy, and all of them say that writing has made them better thinkers. Because the next time you go out you are not on your cell phone and you're looking for ideas around you. You're looking at that coffee shop, you're looking at that bus stop because you want an idea for your blog post tomorrow. So you stop wasting time in going through Instagram reels, but you sort of start seeing things around you which you can make a part of your story. And you quickly, I think I'm going to come to that point about having a pocket diary. But for those who have been on my email list, I did send an email yesterday saying that you should have a pocket diary. I think I might have one to show you, or maybe I don't. Yeah, it's there somewhere. Okay, yeah, I do have it. See, something as small as this, where you just go out and you make a note of what you saw, and maybe you come back and you write on that. Right, so you basically stop wasting time on all these nonsense distractions that are trying to take us away and pulling us into different directions, especially our cell phones, and you start observing the world and you start questioning it. Okay, so benefits of daily publishing is you just write 3 benefits, but I think I've sold a lot to you already. You may just end up building an audience, not a huge audience. No, you're not looking to be someone who has millions of followers, at least at this point of time. You're not looking to be the next Gary Vaynerchuk at this point of time. You're looking for depth. You're not looking for width. You're looking for depth. You're looking to impact 10, 15, 20 people, because eventually that will grow. Okay, eventually that will grow, but do not focus on the quantity at this point of time. Just focus on the quality, and you may just end up building an audience. Of course, your writing will get better. I am really, really embarrassed of the posts that I wrote 5 years back. Like, they were really bad. I used to give answers on Quora. I used to have my own initiative. I still do have an own initiative known as Towards Fulfillment, where I used to write about mindfulness and spirituality. Some of those posts are really, really bad. Like, really bad, okay? But it's gotten better over time. So your writing will get better, even if you are someone who's into business development, right? The way you structure your pitch will also change, because the way you can tell a story now has changed. Now you don't start with a random thought. You structure your story, you structure your sales pitch in such a way that the prospect is hooked onto your story and wants to buy from you. You see the world differently. You become a smarter person every day. Okay, so but yeah, all of this was already covered. This is just me summarizing the benefits of daily publishing. Now here is the problem. Okay, here is the ideal scenario. For a daily publishing to work, you need to have 3 things sorted out. Okay, let me just ask you rather. What all do you need to know to start daily publishing? Which answers do you want to start daily publishing? What are the questions that you should be asking yourself? Okay, so the first is the time. Okay, makes sense, and we will touch upon that topic. Okay. So what will I actually write about, right? Where I think Neha is saying the place from where you operate. We'll talk about that as well. Is it okay to write content which are not related to the topic you're looking to build your personal brand? Okay, so again, I think it is related to topic if the content is valuable for the audience. Okay, cool. So Dipali, unfortunately, if we had a machine that predicted that this particular piece of content is going to be valuable for your audience or not, it would be so much simpler, right? I mean, take that piece of content, use that machine, fill it into that machine, and then you get an output that, okay, Dipali, tick mark, please go and publish this. Or Dipali, cross, no, don't publish this. Unfortunately, we do not have that machine. I wish we did, but we do not have that machine. What we do have, though, is all these channels and platforms which will not really damage you or damage your reputation a lot, even if the content does not resonate. Right? You just take something, you post it, and you see if it resonates for you. The audience decides the value of the content after you have published it, not before. Right? So this is just to answer that. Right? Now, here is my list of the things that you should know, okay, before you actually start writing. So let me, one sec, let me just start sharing screen again. So here is the ideal scenario, guys. Ideal scenario is that I know my topic. I made a typo here, excuse me. I know my audience, not my audience. And the third is I know my point of view. Okay, I know my topic, I know my audience, I know my point of view. You can't just know one or two of these. Let's say if you want to write about, let's say, yoga, but if you write generic yoga, if you don't have a point of view, then your blog or your writing is sort of going to get lost among all the yoga articles out there. If you want to write about B2B SaaS marketing, you do know your audience now, you do know your topic now, but there are many B2B SaaS companies out there. So you also need to have some point of view. What is a point of view? A point of view is your flavor or your opinion in your writing. Because I can't write bland content. If I just write a content or a blog article which says 5 ways to grow your Instagram account, I am just basically stealing from the internet, and which is what many content writers do, right? I mean, you just Google and then you steal one tip from here and one tip from there and you mix it up. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about putting your own personality into writing, putting your own point of view, your own opinion into your writing. All right. So an example of this would be, let's say, I help e-commerce brands with SEO. SEO, for those who don't know, is search engine optimization through data-driven strategies. And so someone might be there who will say that I am fed up. I'm fed up that e-commerce brands don't do SEO with any data-driven strategies at all. They just do SEO with tactics which are non-structured. On Monday they'll do this, on Tuesday they'll do that. There is no data to support the strategies. That's why they don't rank for the relevant keywords. I am fed up of this. So I am an independent consultant who helps e-commerce brands with SEO through data-driven strategies. But this is an ideal scenario, and I think none of us are here yet. Okay, we are sort of there. None of us are here. Why? Because the actual scenario is like, I kinda sorta know my topic. I kinda sorta know my audience. Again, my audience. And I don't have a point of view. Okay? This is the ideal scenario, very, very honestly. Now, what happens when you are in the actual scenario is that you try to find the answers by thinking. So again, you start thinking, okay, I should not start writing before I know my audience. I should not start writing before I know my topic. I should not start writing before I don't have a point of view. Which is fair. If you don't know what to write about, you should not start writing. If you don't know your audience, you should not start writing. Right? Well, actually, no, that's the wrong thing. You don't write because you know what you want to write about. I'm going to say that again. You don't write because you already know what you want to write about. You write because you want to know what to write about. Does that make sense? When you start publishing, you get the inner clarity to figure out what you actually want to write about. That inner clarity is not going to come from before. Does that make sense? Can I get an AY in the chat if all of this is making sense? Or if you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me, as I said. Cool? Okay. Okay, so we are good on time. I'm going to continue. So what I'm trying to say is that even though you may not know the answers to all of these, just know that you will get these answers by actually doing it. Not through thinking, not through strategizing, not by calling me and asking, Pranav, what do you think is the right strategy, or by anyone, because no one can help you. You have to start putting the work out, and then you will slowly fine-tune your audience. You will slowly fine-tune your point of view, and you will slowly fine-tune your topic. but it will happen when you start doing the work. So here is my suggestion. If you are entirely not sure, okay, if you're entirely not sure about what you want to write about, let's say if you are as confused as, I don't know if I want to write about, let's say, spirituality, or I want to write about parenting. I mean, if your topics are that far away from each other, here is what my suggestion would be: write about what makes you angry. Okay, and here I think you will need to ask yourself the question: what am I writing for again? Like, if you're writing it for your career, there are so many things in marketing, for example, that make me angry, that make you angry, or in your business there would be practices that make you angry. So start writing about that. Write about what confuses you. It's absolutely okay to write about things that you can't make sense of. In my email list, the daily practice, I write about things that confuse me. I am not trying to teach people about stuff. I mean, of course I am, but I'm not really trying to show how great I am through my email list. I'm more of trying to think for myself, because this is confusing me. How do I make sense of all of this? And so write about what confuses you. Write about what you strongly feel about. But even if you don't know what the answer is, that's not an excuse to not write. You first write and then you ask yourself these questions. The output is non-negotiable. One post per day has to come regardless of how bad or poor it is. If you want to make that post better, you can start out by asking yourself these questions. Okay? If you don't know your topic and you're hesitating to start, here is my tip. If you're very uncomfortable, right? I mean, if you just feel that I can't put my name on it, you start an anonymous blog and post on it for 30 days straight. Why anonymous? Because then no one will know that who is writing it. So you are basically safe. Even if someone criticizes you, your reputation, your brand will not be damaged. And you anyway end up posting for 30 days straight, right? It does not really matter that much what you post. You just write because you yourself are trying to figure out that topic. Like I said, is it yoga? Is it meditation? Is it parenting? Is it fashion? Is it marketing? Is it painting? Whatever that is, whatever that you want to write about, you just do it for 30 days. You play around with the idea as much as you want. Because in 30 days, you are going to get that clarity. You will feel that, I'm not that much into yoga as much as I'm into parenting. Or I really want to write about writing. Or I really want to write about IT services. So whatever that is. So for now, it's okay for you to be not specific. Just start putting out content. It's great if you can do it on your own properties, if it's your own Facebook, if it's your own LinkedIn, if it's your own email list as well. But if you are not sure, if it's like very broad, do it anonymously. After 30 days, you can decide the next step. So after 30 days, you can figure out that, okay, I think I have an idea about what to do next. I'll go all in now. Or you can say that, okay, maybe I'll take 30 days more and write a little bit haphazardly. But the non-negotiable here is that you have to post for 30 days straight. No two ways about it. This is not that hard. Today I feel like writing, so I'll write. Tomorrow, no, I'm not in the mood to write. None of that nonsense, right? We will write every day for 30 days straight, even if we feel like, or even if we don't feel like. Okay, every week our TV show comes live at 9 p.m. Not because it's ready, but because they have to show up at 9 p.m. on Saturday. It's not about them feeling about good or bad about it. They just have to create that show. And similarly, you and I have to create that show every day. If you already know the topic, if you already know that I have a certain idea about the topic, let's say I want to write about marketing only, or I want to write about HR systems only, then you already have a good head start. So basically, you need to fine-tune your point of view. What is your point of view? Point of view is that you identify something that is broken in the industry, and you say that this pisses me off. This makes me angry in my industry. My mission is to stop this, and I am going to have that point of view when I write. Of course, you need to be clear internally what you believe in, which again will happen with time, right? So you basically pick an enemy, which means that you will be criticized by a lot of people. A lot of people will not like what you write. but a few set of people will love what you write, and that is what you want. You don't want 10,000 people just to thoda bahut like your writing. You want 10 people who are hardcore fans of your writing. That is the change, right? You need to fine tune your point of view. You need to fine tune your story, which is related. You need to publish daily in public. It could be a daily blog, email, or both. And you can talk about the tactics if at all needed. I like to send a daily blog because it creates a daily email, sorry, because it creates these intimate conversations between me and the subscriber, the reader, which is you. The reader will tell me about his or her problems, about the issues, and what's bothering them, which gives me further ideas. So it enables that conversation. You can have the same content on your LinkedIn if you want, or on Facebook if you want, or on your blog if you want. But if you already have the topic, don't start an anonymous blog. Start posting it. Just take out time and start posting it. Okay? Yeah, I already mentioned this. Okay, we'll just take a short pause to see if you have any questions. Cool. I'm gonna go on because I see that there are no questions. I'm gonna resume. I think the last part now, which is about writing and about getting ideas. Already mentioned the first one. A few tips on getting ideas. Keep a pocket diary. Right, when you go out the next time, when you're waiting for your friend at the coffee shop, don't check your phone. Instead, have something like this. Have a pen with you. Just start observing people. Not like a creep. Not someone who's like making creepy notes by observing people in a in a weird way, but more of just being observant and writing all the thoughts or the interesting thoughts that are coming to you. Maybe you can come back and combine those thoughts with your writing, right? So it's absolutely essential that we spend some time with ourselves and away from technology to get these ideas. Reducing the usage of your phone when you go for a walk, it's not. I mean, I have this bad habit of listening to podcasts, right? And it's a good habit, but not always, right? Not always do I need to have this habit of checking my phone, right? So reduce the usage of your phone. Just be curious about the world around you and ask why all the time. If something is working, ask why. Why is it working? Again, I'm talking about your domain, right? So let's say if you are going to write about B2B SaaS marketing, just figure out why is this particular B2B SaaS strategy working, and then just to start writing. If you think that why is this particular strategy for a particular brand not working, you write about that. But just be curious, and this curiosity will help you create amazing content, because this type of content can't be Googled. Your content will be unique because you're adding your own point of view to the whole thing. Okay, if you can't find an idea, just keep writing, an idea will emerge. I don't know how many of you have done this. Many times it happens. I just can't find an idea. Okay, it's like about the day is about to end. I have not sent my daily email. I'm starting to panic now. I think all my 100 subscribers that are there are going to judge me because I failed to send an email, or I start panicking because I think they'll soon realize that I'm a fraud and I'm not as good as they think I am. All of these thoughts start coming. If I sit like this, just thinking, okay, idea come to me, the idea won't come. The idea will come when you start writing. So what you do is you take a Google Doc and you keep writing. You write random stuff. You can write Bollywood songs if you like. You can write stuff like, I want to punch Pranav in the face. You can write, I don't like Pranav. You can write, I don't like writing. You just keep writing. You just keep writing stuff. You don't use the backspace key or the delete key. You keep on writing, and suddenly there will be a point when something will click. And internally you will get excited. Oh, okay, this is interesting. I want to write more about this. And then again, you don't stop to fine tune it. You just write. You just make typos, you make grammatical errors, because this is not going to go live at this point of time. This this is just you. You can fine tune this idea later. But for now, something in your brain has clicked and it's your job to get that thing onto the paper. So you start writing, and then you maybe go for a walk and come back to it tomorrow and refine it if needed. My point is that if you feel stuck, if you feel that there is a mental block, if you're running out of ideas, my suggestion to you would be don't stop writing, just keep writing. Eventually, something or the other will emerge. Trust me on this. Okay, a few tips on writing. As I said, writing and editing is different. How is it different? Writing is like vomiting on a page. Editing is like arranging that vomit properly. And I'm sorry for using this example. I wish I had a better example, but I don't. But the reason I say this is that when you write, you're making a lot of grammatical mistakes, which is fine. When you're writing, you are not allowed to use the delete key because then again that disturbs the thought pattern in your mind. You are just supposed to write. And then you come back to it and then you say that, okay, now I want to make this more of a more comprehensive story, right? So you move this part up and this part down. You correct your grammatical errors. You basically have a more attractive hook, or you basically feel that, okay, this part is missing, so let me add that. And all of those things will happen. But just know that the writer in you does not want to be stopped. If you say that, okay, in the next 30 minutes, I'll come up with a very precise, finished article from scratch, it's going to be difficult for you. So why don't you just say that, okay, for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to vomit on the page, whatever ideas come to me. Maybe in the evening for 30 minutes, I'll sit and I'll arrange those things properly so that, all of this makes sense. But don't do both of these things simultaneously, is what I'm saying. The writer is a different guy, the editor is a different guy, even though it's just you. Write shitty first drafts, like I said. Write something, go for a walk, come back, make it better. Do not get attached to this perfect draft. If you hacked into my Google Drive, I would be so embarrassed because most of my writing is shitty. But then when I come back, I can make it better and I can post it. So get into this habit of writing really bad, shitty first drafts. It will help you. Tell stories. And this in itself is like a very big topic, which is a little out of scope for today. We will talk about this if needed. But no one wants information, they want an experience. If you're writing like a technical writer, and I hope none of us are technical writers, right? I mean, we are not writing brochures or manuals as to how to use this air fryer and how to use this microwave. No, we're not talking about that kind of writing. We're talking about a writing which helps the audience, which helps the audience see the world differently, and it helps their life become better. And so, no, we cannot give them information. I mean, I could have started this session by just saying that, okay, guys, please write every day for 45 minutes. That's it, done. That's not how it works. I have to convince you. I have to build some credibility. I have to tell a story. I have to do it in such a way that this session is enjoyable for you, and I'm not just giving out information, because otherwise I would have just emailed you, right? That, hey guys, this is what you should do. Step 1, step 2, step 3. No, it doesn't work that way. It has got to be an experience. It has got to be, story driven. And storytelling is one skill that you just need to develop. And we can talk about that a little bit later if you want. But again, that's a big topic in itself. Last couple of tips. Have only one theme to your write-up, which means that don't try to convince people of 5 or 10 things. A common mistake, okay? Don't make this mistake of convincing people about 10 things. No, just one. Just have one single theme, one central theme to what you want to write about. You will thank me later, because that will simplify your writing, and the user will not feel overwhelmed, or the user will not feel distracted with your writing.
Hello, Pranav.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can you elaborate? I didn't get your point exactly. Can you give an example for that?
This part,
this theme part.
Theme part, right? Right. So again, I'm thinking on the fly. See, many times what happens is that we write from our point of view, right? Which means that we are writing something which typically excites us, and we are hopeful that it will help the user. In that process, what happens is that we try to convince people of too many things at the same time, which means that I will try to tell Deepak that Deepak, it's absolutely necessary for you to start working on your fitness, and then I'll try to tell you that Deepak, intermittent fasting is a good exercise for you, and then I'll start telling you that Deepak, you must also join a gym. That's just too much information, because Deepak you can't expect Deepak to change instantly. You can't expect him or her to take all your beliefs instantly and change in that particular moment. So what I'm trying to say is that you basically have one central theme to your writing, that you actually write it down for yourself, that okay, in this write-up I'm trying to convince the reader that this particular thing, not 10 things, but this particular thing. A resource that I would probably recommend for you is this book. I don't know if you've heard of it, Made to Stick. Amazing book. Okay, so this guy basically gives you an element of like an ingredient to write the impactful stories, and he calls them as success, SUCCESS, and there's an abbreviation basically. So the first S basically stands for simple, because the more you complicate things, even this PPT that I'm presenting to you right now is not simple. It's a little bit complicated, but I hope to make it simpler over time, where I only have one point of view, so that you get what I'm trying to say without getting distracted. So not sure if that answers your question, Deepak, but do let me know if you have any follow-ups on that.
Sure.
Okay, I will come to Souvik, Yash, your questions in just a bit. Okay, I'll just finish this because I'm almost done with the PPT, and I'm also a little behind time, so I will just share the remaining tips and then we can have a discussion. Yeah, your first 50 posts will be terrible. No one would want to read them, and that's okay. Learn to forgive yourself. I think having self-compassion, having this capacity to forgive yourself, because you will cringe. Okay, when you look at something that you have written a few months back, you'll feel embarrassed, you'll cringe. That happens to me a lot. But learn to forgive yourself. Just know that you're giving your best at this point of time, and just be okay with knowing that this is a 5-year or a 10-year or a 15-year practice. Seth Godin has a blog for 20 to 25 years, and look where he is right now. This is a long game, and hence you will get better every day. But your first 50 posts will be terrible. I'm just giving 50 as a number, right? Maybe you are much better than me, and maybe your 7th post will be quite nice, right? So 50 is just a number, but yeah, don't get too attached to becoming this amazing writer or amazing storyteller in the first post itself. I think this will answer Neha's question. So have a dedicated place and time where you write every day. Treat yourself as the client, right? So I think Souvik said this, that I already have a lot of written work to be done. How can I make time for myself? Well, you're your own client. And so what I would suggest you do is that you watch 25 minutes less of Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever that it is that you do, and get up 25 minutes earlier and just give that time for yourself. So before all the business starts, before the emails start coming, before the phone starts ringing, those first 25 minutes, you grab your cup of coffee or cup of tea or whatever you like to drink, and give that to yourself. And do that as the first thing in the morning. Otherwise, it won't happen. And have a dedicated place as well, place where you sit and write. Don't do it on your bed. Don't do it in the kitchen. I mean, of course, if you like writing in the kitchen, do that. But my point is that have a dedicated time and space where you can build this habit. You'll thank me later. Keep your writing simple. You're not trying to be William Shakespeare. You're not trying to be this poetic, charismatic, beautiful writer. I mean, eventually you will be. But for now, even if you write sentences like "I am a boy, you are a girl," it's absolutely fine. You're not trying to be this, because this simplicity about you being clever, or simplicity about having this command over language. No, it's always about keeping things simple and trying to teach and making a point. Now, if you can make that point in a much more poetic way, please go ahead and do it. But don't get caught up into these things like, I don't have a good vocabulary, I don't know a lot of English words and stuff like that. You already have what it takes. Just make a simple point through your writing. Most importantly, practice, practice, and practice. If you were looking for a quick hack or a quick tip which will instantly transform you into this brilliant writer, I'm sorry to have disappointed you, but that's just not how it works. This is a long game, and you would need to practice a lot, but eventually you will thank me for this. Okay? That's pretty much what I wanted to say today. If you have any questions, let me know. I will start taking questions from Souvik. How to strategize 30 days blog post writing challenge. Okay, I will show you I've never done this before, okay, so I hope I don't embarrass myself, but I'll show you my drive. So I call it noodles because I call this whole process noodling. So see, this is my folder where you can see I'm writing random stuff. Okay, so I won't show you the untitled document right now here, but that is just me basically, as I said, vomiting on a page, right? Now, some of these things that I write here, I get interested and I move them to this particular folder, which is ready to be edited, right? Where I feel that, okay, I have a certain idea and now I just need to fine tune it. When that idea is fine tuned and when I have a final write up, I basically go to the ready to be published. I basically put that write up in this particular folder where I say, okay, now this just needs to go live, and it is just ready to be published. So that's how I manage it. But that's not the answer to your question. The answer to your question is that I personally don't have a written calendar. If you want, I'm more than happy if that practice will support you. But just know that writing, and I'm talking about writing typically for yourself, right? I mean, of course, client work can also work similarly, but many times it will happen that you're writing something and an idea will come. So you can't really have a 30-day calendar. Maybe have a 7-day calendar if at all, but don't have a 30-day calendar because it will change. It will change, and so yeah, that's all I wanted to add on that. Let me know if you have any follow up on that. What is that theme boards myself? Yash, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. So I think we have discussed the same over an email as well.
Yeah.
That I write for a client, and it is like they give me an idea for that specific email, and I need to elaborate that idea, add some story kind of stuff into it, and maybe post it or maybe share the same with them. But now what happens is that I start with a specific kind of starting with some questions, then I add a GIF, I elaborate the idea that they have given to me, and I end it up again with a question. So if you name this as a theme, then after writing 30 or 40 articles in the same pattern, I now feel it boring myself that this is now I should be writing, or I should change the pattern that I write.
How are you measuring the success of these write-ups? Is it the engagement because it's client work, right? So how are you measuring the success or the failure of these write-ups?
No idea, because I don't get the results of the open ratios of those emails or anything.
Okay. See, I'll tell you what works for me, okay, personally. The reason and this is the context is a little bit different because I am referring to writing for myself, whereas you are writing for your client, right? So there is obviously a difference in context. So I won't pretend that I have the answer to your question, but I'll tell you what excites me about writing. One is the fact that I get clarity by about a specific thing. If something is confusing me, I get clarity about that, and then that in itself is does not bore me. So it basically pushes me to do more. And the other thing that happens or that excites me is the feedback that I get. If someone says that, okay, your writing changed me, or hey, your write-up was amazing. This is just what I needed to hear today. That in itself is like a positive reinforcement to what I've been doing, which again, is the opposite to boredom. So perhaps one of the things that you might want to do is reconsider working with this client. That is one. Secondly, it could just be that maybe you're just not interested in the topic that much. Maybe you just need to look at the kind of topic that interests you and find clients around that. Maybe that could be the thing. Or maybe you just need feedback from readers. Maybe it's just become that you're writing by yourself. It's a lonely thing to do, right? You're writing by yourself and you're not getting any feedback as such, which can become a little monotonous. So maybe some feedback mechanism, if any, if you're getting replies or comments from your clients' customers or your clients' clients, that will also be helpful perhaps. So maybe I could have totally dodged your question. So let me know if I have, and I'll try to give a better answer.
I mean, I cannot just talk working with this client because he's very important to me.
Yeah.
I think we should, have one more conversation, maybe in some other meeting where I can elaborate all these things and I can be open about the client and the content that I write.
Cool. Okay. If it's about the writing part, right? I mean, if it's not about any of the problems that I mentioned, and if it's just more about the writing process, then I strongly suggest that you have 15 minutes a day to start with, which is different from this writing process. But have like 15 or 30 minutes every day where you are analyzing the blog posts of highly successful people. So you can go to if you know Shane Parrish, if you know Tim Ferriss, how they write, and try to emulate that structure. Okay, so they start with this particular thing. So can I structure my blog that way? Can I do this now? Can I use quotes by other people? Whatever that is. Maybe that learning and that growth will excite you, so that you don't feel it as a stagnant job, and you feel that you are taking inspiration from all these successful people, and yourself becoming a better writer every day. So that is one tip that I can give you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Cool. Harika, Shweta, you guys have been very quiet. Let me know if I can help you in any way. Prashant?
Yeah, actually the point is that we juggle between writing about self-help and second is about finance because it is my domain.
Okay.
See, I'm from commerce and doing masters, so it's like I do have knowledge about finance, but it's like that I also